Honestly, I thought that, I'll take a break from explaining situations since I have a series to make. But, I can never have good things. And this situation is about to be swept under the rug, so I cannot have that, especially since there are more victims than I anticipated. So join me on this journey as we take a look at this disturbing discovery of screenshots, lies, excuses, and mental illness blaming that goes on in this story. I would like to present you the untold victims of Crowva. Around 4 days ago, at the time of making this, a situation had occurred between a YouTuber by the name of Crowva and another YouTuber by the name of Queen Davvi. Crowva did not want to get into details about what happened and made it seem like Davvi had framed her for something horrible. However, you will see this go down the drain once we show what really occurred. Around this time, Davvi had made a response video as well, and she had screenshots that were just mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing. And that was the first nail in the coffin. However, I would like to explain what happened and that Davvi gave us the context. Crow and Davvi had filmed a real-life video for 2 weeks straight, if I'm correct. Crow suggested that her and Davvi kiss, not clarifying this was a joke, and it led to one thing and another. Now they were both in the bathroom stall making out, and I would like to clarify that Crow is 16 at the legal age of consent in Australia where this occurred. However, Davvi is 14. Now, of course, the legal age is 16, true enough, but I've looked up if a 14-year-old could consent to a 16-year-old in Australia. This is what I found. Here, take a look. Obviously, no, you cannot. Queen Davvi proceeded to explain that Crow slipped her hand under Davvi's shirt and touched her bra. Now, again, even though Davvi said yes, Davvi cannot consent. I would also like to clarify that Crow knew Davvi's age, and so proceeding with this would be considered predatory. The next chapter shows screenshots. Trigger warning for predatory behavior, disturbing images, and creepy screenshots. The first 2 screenshots I would like to show is from Davvi's response video. Crowva was planning more than just make-out sessions. Crow was planning to have sex with a 14-year-old when her parents were away and she was alone. That's how willing Crow was. I want you to look at that and try to defend that action, try to justify it. There is no way to justify it. That was downright disgusting. After Davvi's response, here's what we get from Crowva. Thank you to the Queen Davvi archive for providing me this screenshot. A shitty apology is what Davvi is given in return. Oh, but it gets worse from there, folks. You see, Crow has given her fans permission to go to Davvi's channel and attack her. If you were to see the original video, you would see people saying disrespectful things. They shamed her. They said she consented so she could not play the victim card even though she couldn't consent. She legally could not consent. She is still a minor. Her brain is not fully developed. It was downright disrespectful. So after that junky response of a apology, we get complaints. You complain about death threats when you should be worried about more things. Like how you basically groomed a 14-year-old? You just don't make sense to me. Now, obviously, this is the end for this chapter. However, the screenshots here just get more disturbing as we continue on, folks. As some would say, it only gets worse. Now watch, folks. I want you to watch this video that I have provided for you that Crow had created but unlisted because she wanted to stop the fighting and she made a deal with Davvi. Then watch me completely tear that apart.
Kids suddenly switch against me because someone told them to.
No, we did not switch because we were told to. We switched because we saw those screenshots and Davvi's video. Continue with your crappy response, though.
Oh well, guys, I don't need you.
And then you're crying and saying you're sorry. What a lie.
All I need are my birds, and birds are really cool. Alright, I want to start with this one. It's really funny, right? Because the problem with using mental health and the problem with using the coping mechanism excuse, to start with, right, is that only works if the coping mechanism type you're referring to is actually what you're doing, which it wasn't, bro. What is deeply unfortunate for you is while you're technically right, their coping mechanisms in terms of what you're referring to are a real thing. I actually had one for a while, and so have many people in spaces I know. What I'm referring to is the interest and fascination in gore, self-harm, and other content of that sort.
Everyone copes differently, and Crow just can't accept that. Now, whether she actually sympathizes with Davvi is up for debate. However, this is total BS.
Except, that's not what you were doing, and it took about 2 minutes of searching the group chat to find out that it wasn't what you were doing. Bro, come on. On screen is an image of someone's dead corpse.
We don't know if the dead body on the screen is actually real or not. It is up for debate. So take Crowva's response to that with a grain of salt, please.
On a track. The head is split off from the body. Overlaying that image is a pop-up saying "Save me." The pop-up requesting 1 key. The pop-up is supposed to represent a game or any sort of general game where you have the ability to revive someone using a currency. Now, my explanation isn't really that good, but for people who understand, they understand that this is sick. To use the excuse to actually relate to this goes out the window, because this is simply a mockery.
This could be a call for help. Many children, including myself, has acted out in order to ask for help. We don't know how to properly ask for help, and so we use anything we can reach for as a way to ask for this help. Children have different coping mechanisms, and so this is just Davvi's. I sympathize with her. So when Crowva called this out, she could be considered a hypocrite as Crow uses dark humor to cope.
Keeping in mind, this is a real person who lost their entire life. And don't just quote reference the comments I made on some of the edgy videos you made, because one, you still made the edgy videos to begin with, meaning you are not any better than me. 2, who cares about comments I made to fit in when everyone knows I'm a bad person?
Manipulation tactic, but carry on.
I've never once said I'm not a bad person. I've literally said my humor is fucked this entire time. Like, what are you... What have you got me on? Like, you could have asked me this shit a month ago. I don't know how you're supposed to have anything on me when you literally joke about school shootings and...
You literally joke about being a pedophile. Well, that's something on you considering the situation right now.
Your videos, but don't drink the tweaker pop potion. Queen Davvi can't seem to decide whether she wants to push the narrative that I molested her, or if she wants to push the narrative that I took advantage of her.
First, you did take advantage of her. You didn't tell her you were joking about the kiss suggestion, so that would be a trick. It's ironic coming from you since you can't decide whether you're sorry or to sweep it under the rug. Don't forget you knew her age, which you keep conveniently leaving out.
And so she's pushing both. So quickly summarize so it makes sense to people who have no idea what's going on right now. Queen Davvi is a YouTuber who I met up with a week ago, or 2, I can't remember, time is just a number. Queen Davvi is someone I met up with to do a vlog. After the vlog, we kissed. Among other things that aren't so family friendly, you can think about, you can guess what I'm talking about, except it's not that, it's not anywhere near as bad as that, it's just, look, shit happened.
To summarize for Crow, who couldn't stop stuttering and trying to make up excuses if her life depended on it, I'll be summarizing it. Crow did not clarify that she was joking about the kiss suggestion, making Davvi think it was a natural request, and so basically tricked her into a bathroom story where they maked out, and Crowva put her hand under Davvi's shirt, eventually playing with her chest. Both proceeded to make out, and eventually Davvi felt bad a little later on, which Crow just continues to leave out. Basically, that should give you a red flag on why the hell is a 16-year-old who knew the 14-year-old's age still proceeding with this action.
Shit happened that maybe should not have happened. Queen Davvi is now claiming I molested her. Let's look into the facts, shall we? Claiming I molested you is fucking wild, because if we're ignoring ages for a second, not that we need to, but if we're ignoring ages for a second, I am going into grade 11, you are going into grade 10. There is a 1-year level age gap. This puts us, at most, at a 2-year age difference, at least at a 1 year.
Oh, you're gonna make me pop my lid on this. Davvi is 14. Crow is 16. Crow and Davvi would at least have a 1.5 year age gap. Crow is lying about Davvi's age as well, trying to say Davvi was 15 when Davvi is actually 14. So keep that in mind, please, as we continue on in this hellish story.
Neither of which are bad.
And I completely agree. Age gaps aren't bad unless you make them bad, as seen in this situation. But continue.
Both of which you see not only in our very gacha community here, but in regular high school environments. And you going on and on about the age of consent is fucking crazy.
Yes, we are making a huge fuss out of it, because Davvi cannot legally consent. You know this. You know her age and you proceeded. That's why we're blowing our top.
You are trying to cancel me over a specific law in a specific state
that you yourself live in,
which is different everywhere else. And this isn't my main defense here, because I could just say Romeo and Juliet exists in every other place in the world, yada yada yada. Could leave it at that, but I want to go further to say that the age of consent exists purely to better punish actual offenders. The age of consent isn't a magical age that decides when you're ready to do sexual shit. And many people treat it as that. And it is so crazy seeing the Western world get so obsessed with a specific number to gauge when you're ready. Truth is, you're ready when you're ready.
Complete lie here. Laws show that you're not ready until you're 18 to legally consent to things. Scientists have shown that children's and minors' brains are still developing until the age of 18. So Crow saying this is just trying to justify her action.
If two 14-year-olds do stuff like that, not a single person on Earth is going to charge them.
Oh, really? What's this then? No, I'm pretty sure 2 underage children can still get charged, or at least get into trouble. Nice try, though, at, trying to, make it seem lighter.
On top of that, the age of consent does not mean you are ready to move to that level. There are plenty of 18-year-olds in my life that I would say probably aren't ready to move on to that level and don't want to move on to that level. Age of consent just means legally you can do it with whoever you want, provided they consent. And they're over. It's complicated. I'm bad at explaining things. It's late. I haven't slept in 2.5 days.
An excuse and possible manipulation tactic is present here. This tactic will make the viewer or person sympathize with the wrongdoer.
Being serious right now. Just, point is, you are obsessing over a specific age as a way of gauging whether or not you've been molested, which is absolutely fucking crazy, considering the fact we have like a 1.5-year age difference. Furthermore, again, this is the sort of stuff you would see in a regular high school. Our age difference was normal. And for you to claim that I took advantage of you is crazy. And we'll get into that in a second, but our age difference was normal. I am known to do some very dodgy things, but this wasn't one of them. We are pretty much the same age.
No, you are not the same age. You may be in range of the age, but you're not. 2 different ages.
Like, stop fucking yapping, my guy. At a separate point in the video, you mentioned the fact that sexual stuff was then all I would talk about. Yeah, except you were warned.
Well, a warning wouldn't have to be put in place if you would have learned self-control. You see, hypersexuality can be tamed and controlled. Example, look at this article. Crowva is using the hypersexuality to her advantage and using it as an excuse. Crow made the DMs inappropriate because she wanted to. She could have easily spoken to anyone else around her age but chose davvi. Completely inappropriate on Crow's part.
As part of the first conversation I have with anyone I meet in real life, there are a lot of topics I go through. I do not go through them all at once. Off the top of my head right now, I can say that for a girl I met at work, not the manager that I have on my server, but a different girl, I asked these questions over our 3-hour shift together. But for you, I'm pretty sure I asked them straight up. What I do is I ask first pronouns, gender, sexuality, and boundaries, and triggers. But I don't think I use the word triggers anymore. I think I just ask boundaries, but whatever. The reason I do that is because I have a habit of not really setting my own boundaries. I can't think of a single time in the last 6 months that I've really set my own boundaries. This is a problem due to trauma and my hypersexuality.
I sympathize with you here. I can agree. I have to set boundaries as well. I haven't gotten there yet, and so I can relate on this.
This is a problem that I do need to deal with, but because I have not dealt with it yet, it is very, very important the other person sets boundaries. This is why this is literally why we got to where we were with Queen Davvi, because I asked her boundaries, she said she had no boundaries, and when I tried to force her to make boundaries, she continued not to make any boundaries.
This is a complete lie. Davvi was thinking of any boundaries she had, and you continue to rush her.
And so I was like, would you kiss me? She said yes, and then I wanted to see if she'd actually do it, mainly because I'm fucked and I have very, very weird decision-making skills, and long story short, we actually did it.
Very inappropriate for Crow to do this, especially since Crow used her hypersexuality as an excuse to justify this action.
And as she has reiterated several times, she consented and at the time was comfortable with it.
Again, Davvi cannot legally consent. Even though you may have asked 7 times, she still could not legally consent. I also saw this comment. Considering your latest post I will later show in the video, it seems like Davvi seemed to be rushed, and so that's why she said she consented, which could mean why this comment was hearted and why Davvi said I love you.
So you can't even say that I fucked up there, and I'll say personally that I fucked up there because I should be setting boundaries, and the fact that I still don't is crazy, and I should not be relying on other people to set boundaries, but whatever. You mentioned that all I would talk about via text is sexual topics. You are not the only person who I only talk about sexual topics with.
We know you're not the only one because you have minors' nudes. How do I know this? There, you have your screenshots. Crow has a minor's nudes. The minor was not happy and called Davvi disrespectful. There's nothing that could add context to Crow having a minor's nudes. I want to reiterate that. Crow proceeds to go on, and there's not much to the video. So let us move on to the next chapter. Besides, if you guys ever want me to give you the video where I fully dissect Crow's response, I will leave it in the link in the comments. Davvi and Crow shortly made a deal, I guess, and Davvi had deleted her channel. Sadly, Crow got away scot-free. A victim paying the consequences for another person's action. Not to mention wild and crazy fans coming at them with unnecessary hate. Still, Crow continues to deny that she did any wrong, saying she's feeling better now and she's gonna go on a break. It was horrible. She was let go with a slap on the wrist. I thought that was the end of that. I was really upset because Davvi didn't get any justice. I realized that there could have been more victims, more people like Davvi. I realized that Davvi could have just been one of the many people who got groomed by this person. This was my reasoning for even making this video. I wanted to call out Crow for grooming, being predatory, being creepy. but I didn't have enough screenshots. Or so I thought. Micah is an entire guardian angel here. I saw their comment about crows striking their channel down on one of Crow's community posts. Now, I didn't think anything of it. However, that would soon change. After a little bit of speaking, Micah gave me screenshots. Screenshots that would put the final nail in Crow's coffin. Firstly, let's go over the two screenshots. Micah had told me that Crowva also made jokes about these two situations. Here's the first screenshot. Here's the next screenshot. But the last one would be the dagger to Crow's heart. The one that would be Crow's nail in the coffin, the final one. I present to you the most crucial and disturbing evidence yet. The screenshot pertaining to her and Davvi. This showed just how predatory Crow was and still is. This shows that Crow is willing to go to any length necessary just to get what she wants. Crowva needs to be stopped. However, this is not the end. Let us head to the next chapter. Crow had made another apology video. I will be showing you the provided video, and then we'll go over it together and point out what's wrong. Instead of getting help and finding healthier ways to cope, you continue. No, you should have just kept it private. There, it would have been reserved. Escape tactic, but continue. I like to say that people show signs of being uncomfortable, and so if Crow did not catch on to this, this is a real concern, and she needs to find a way to observe better. You did fuck up horribly bad. Very bad. You groomed most of the victims, if not all. It was very inappropriate, like on a very high level of inappropriacy. You should have stopped, but you didn't and proceeded anyway. While most comments were just calling out Crow, I can agree some were transphobic, but a lot of fans were calling Crow's behavior out, especially the manipulation. Crow is not sorry, even though this looks like a great apology and all. She did not address the grooming allegations that is seen throughout my video and Davvi's video. I would like to add that comments were even saying this, and she continued to deny her wrongdoing in this, making her unapologetic. This apology was fake. It was only a way for her to escape reality. It's a horrible situation all around. Now she's going on another break to hang out with real life friends. Well, I just hope that they find out the truth eventually. I'll end this here, but if you are a victim and you have screenshots, please come forward and, well, talk to me. I'm free and you don't have to worry. My place is a safe place for you and you will not be judged. As for Crow, you're fucked.
There's all this dirt under my nails. Wouldn't you like to see where I went to high school?